Right on 35 between Prairie du Chien and La Crosse, a little town called Lynxville. And all of my most vivid and cherished childhood memories take place in Wisconsin. And I tried like hell to get a job here right out of grad school. I would love to come back to Wisconsin one day, but tonight was just, this is just a whole other side of Wisconsin that even I didn't appreciate. Though I will say the greatest punk rock band, the greatest hardcore band of all time is from Milwaukee, DeCroixson. I don't know if any of y'all remember them, but I played in hardcore bands all through the 80s, and they were by far the fiercest and most overwhelming musical experience in my life. So thanks to Stephen, Rusty, and Jennifer for reading with me tonight and contributing to such a wonderful night of poetry. This is called House of Selected Flames. The darkness peals as each star is inserted. Truly, stars are harmless. I mean, they only hurt themselves. Did I mention how hot it is? Wind dips in like a hand, places water on the nightstand, and then runs the length of my right leg. I follow my thoughts a certain distance. If you're awake and thinking what I am thinking, you are dead wrong. I will not disintegrate amidst the siren's multiple choice. The flames doused, a life saved, possibly locked away forever, or D, all of the above. Fear is such a dirty dress to wear, wet across the abdomen, like a faded label that might have read fragile way back when. I stole the title of that poem from a dead woman. A much better poet than I, but she doesn't seem to mind. This is called, let me flip the script. Let me read a poem about her to pay her back. Lori Jackson was a fantastic performance poet. She grew up in Louisville. I played football with her brothers. That's how I met Lori. She lived out most of her short life in Chicago. She was kind of the Lydia Lunch of Chicago. I hope that doesn't patronize her by saying that. But she was a very important person to me because before I found poetry, before poetry became the focal point of my life, I had football and punk rock. And to me, that's a very natural progression. But maybe not to everyone. But football and punk rock are both very macho subcultures. And so I didn't get a lot of support from my compadres for the fact that I wrote poetry. And Lori was the first badass punk rocker I ever met who convinced me that poetry was just as brave, as bold, and as necessary an endeavor as the other things that I had spent my young life on. And that was a crucial teaching to me at a crucial time. And then I learned of her death by heroin overdose in a literary magazine, Long Shot. She published a few poems in Long Shot back in the day, and the Chiron Review and a few others. And it kind of devastated me that I never really, I was studying creative writing at UMass when I read about her death. And I don't think I was ever able to tell her. I lost track with her. She was homeless a lot of her adult life, just lived a really itinerant existence. And I never was able to tell her like how deep and profound the impact she'd had on me was. And that was the great tragedy for me of that. That's about 10 times longer than the poem I'm about to read you. It's called Elegy for Lori. One time we got high together in the bathroom stall of a bar. There was trouble keeping it lit, so when I'd had my hit, I hurried, holding it up to where your lips were. Handicapped van conversion. I was just riding around, peering into yards, starved for a toy, a lawn chair. It was dusk, nearly dinner time. I cut my engine hidden by a hunching sycamore. The slow strobe of the television lit a picture window, the whole front room an intermittent blue, like faces after my accident. I had no desire to know them. One efficient with fork and knife, so careful not to upset his tray. The other down on the floor, Indian style, in her lap a plate piled high. Yet I wanted more than life to be bathed, blue alongside the two of them. I wanted to sit on their couch and eat off my knees. I wanted news, any kind of news. I wanted to know what was happening to everyone else.